Today I want to show you guys how to do basic cable stitches. I'm going to show you both how to do if you look at this swatch, the outside cables in this swatch are two, but they're 2/2 cables, and the middle cable in this swatch is a 3/3 cable. And this is the left-handed tutorial. I'm going to have a right-handed one on my channel as well. Cabling is actually pretty easy once you get a little practice with it. You might even want to make these little swatches, or this is kind of looking almost like a doll scarf now that I think of it. You might want to make some swatches even to just get comfortable holding the different needles you'll be working with, and just get a little practice if you've never ever done a cable before. So one of the things, so if you're knitting cables, you're going to need one of these. This is a cabling needle, and this one's shaped kind of like a shepherd's hook. I really like this style because I feel like it's easier to keep all your stitches where they're supposed to be. I've used some other cable needles and have felt like it was pretty easy to drop stitches with them. So just FYI on that, I just really like this style. I believe this is this is a Clover product. All right, so let's get started. So in my swatch, I've already done a few left-leaning 2/2 cables, and so I'm about to show you how to do another one. So when you get to a row where there's cabling in a pattern, you knit up until where the cable starts, based on what the pattern says. A lot of times cabling is offset by rows of purl stitches, which is what I'm doing in this swatch as well. It kind of makes them pop. In the swatch I showed you at the beginning of the video, that was also offset by purls. All right, so I just did a few stitches and I got to the 4 stitches that are going to make up the 2/2 left leaning twist or cable. So 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, because when it's a 2/2 cable, 2 + 2 is 4. So you'll be grabbing 2 stitches and bringing them and putting a twist in between them as you go. So you'll grab your cable needle and put the next 2 loops onto that cable needle and just swing them right off the end of the right hand needle. Then what you're going to do, since this is a left leaning cable, is let the cable needle drop to the back of your work. You don't even see it from this angle. And then you'll just go to the next 2 stitches, completely leapfrogging the 2 on the needle, but make sure that your working yarn comes between the cable needle and your regular needles, and you'll just work 2 stitches, and then you'll swing your working yarn back outside around the stitches that are on the cable needle, and then you will be careful not to twist your cable needle because that'll mess up the cabling, and knit right off of the cable needle. If you're not super comfortable with juggling 3 needles at once, don't worry about it. You can pass the stitches from the cable needle back onto the right hand needle and do it that way, no problem. So then I've worked those 2 stitches that were on the cable needle. Now I can literally just drop that right there and then continue working my row in pattern. So yeah, that's a basic 2/2 cable. And as you can see, it's all bunched up right here on the needle. So what you'll do after this row that you did the twist in is just work a couple of vanilla rows in pattern. And that is what will kind of relax your work and counterbalance the stretch that the twist of the cable introduced. And that's when you get that classic look that you think of when you think of a cable knit sweater or cabling in any other type of garment. Let me turn it back over to show you one last time what I'm talking about. So yeah, see how these repeat evenly, and the twist is, and there's almost no puckering by the time you work the vanilla rows that don't have twists in them, because that's relaxed the cable back out. All right, so that is a 2/2 left leaning cable. Let's try a 3/3 and right leaning, just to show you some variety. Just like with the 2/2, you'll work your row in pattern until you get to the stitches that you want to cable. Also, just like the 2/2 cable that I showed you before, with the 2/2 you needed 4 stitches, and with the 3/3 you need 6. So grab your cable needle and grab 3 stitches off your right hand needle and swing those stitches off the end. Since we want this cable to lean right, we will swing the cable needle in front of in front of our work and bring the working yarn to the back. Then we knit 3 stitches off the right needle, and then we will knit 3 stitches off of our needle. And if you're uncomfortable again with balancing multiple needles, all you've got to do is slide those stitches onto your right hand needle. So, and make sure the working yarn's between the right hand needle and the cable needle if you're working off of the cable needle. And drop that cable needle and finish your row like normal. And so now, if we look at this, we have just added another twist to our swatch, and it is leaning to the right. And so you're always double checking that the lean is the way you want it and it's all looking good. Then, just like before, you will work a few rows in pattern, just vanilla, without any of the twists, unless your pattern calls for it. But you'll work those vanilla rows in between so that you can get the classic cable look to your work. With cabling, you can use this technique, you can use cabling as a technique in all sorts of really interesting ways, and there's a lot of really cool patterns out there in magazines and on blogs and books or on Ravelry that do really cool stuff with cables. Because even in this swatch, these 2 right-leaning 3x3 cables that I did are pretty close to each other, so they end up just kind of twisting right on top of each other instead of having a little bit of breathing room like these 2 have. It all depends on how many rows you work between your twists. So yeah, that's the 3/3 right-leaning cable.